I was going to pick up a suit jacket and waistcoat. So it is now Tuesday. I don't know why I looked at my watch. I'm feeling a little bit fragile from the races. Great day. Enjoyed it. That was the last social occasion of this marathon prep series. And like I said at the start of it, I was always going to be enjoying those social occasions. They were scheduled into the programme. So that was the last one ticked off. Unfortunately though, the Saturday morning before the races, I went for a 10-mile run, which is the longest run, or the longest last run of the marathon prep before things were tapering in these last 2 weeks. And I was literally a few miles in, and I felt my soleus go again. I just felt really tight, felt painful, and I had to end up getting a taxi home, which kind of poo-pooed the day a little bit. So it's massively changed how my taper week this week is going to run, which I'll tell you a little bit more about after we've been to the gym. This was the finale, the final leg session of the week, the showdown. Started today's leg session, which was a quads and hamstring only session, by doing some rehab work from my running specialist. Just 3 times 15 reps of bent leg calf raise to try and imitate the position of the calf through the stride and build strength. All the movements I did today were super light, boring as shit, and machine based, and I didn't really want to create any fatigue or DOMs for the quads. So we did 2 sets of adductors, 2 sets of 45-degree hypers, nice and light, 2 sets of quad extensions or leg extensions, and also never going to failure, probably working at around RP of 5 to 6 here. Then moved into some hamstring curls, again keeping 3 or 4 reps in reserve and not overdoing it, and finishing off with some leg press, really light again, just to get some blood in the quads, and more so just to stimulate myself mentally and keep me in some kind of habit and routine this week. I then finished off with 20 minutes on the bike at leisurely pace. This was supposed to be a run, but we are staying away from running altogether this week to get the calf in the best place possible by reducing high impact movements and exercise. Now it's the last leg session before the marathon wrapped up, and even that session itself felt weird because I wasn't pushing to failure or anywhere near failure. Actually, I was kind of just going through the motions, and that even psychologically itself messed with me a little bit. But we got it done, it's boxed off. This whole last week for me has been, I've been in a weird headspace even the past 2 weeks. I think the injuries probably thrown me off more than I've really talked about. And by the way, injuries are going to happen. If you're doing a marathon prep, 79% of people who engage in a marathon prep or program will get injured. 79%. So don't blame yourself if you do, because it's a huge volume of work to take on board, and any kind of small kinks in the chain or tender areas are going to have the potential to flare up and be highlighted by that big massive training volume. But yeah, I think just because I put so much hard work into the past couple of months, to get injured so close to the end massively throw my program off and really mess with my head because of time. Because a big thing for me is I hate letting people down, and I kept thinking about, if I can't finish or get this time, I'm letting people down, when in actual fact the bigger picture is raising the money for charity and making a difference with raising awareness and raising the money for the Meningitis Research Foundation, and also enjoying the day and all the people that are going to be there on that day. So I had a conversation with one of my friends today. It really helped me flip things around. So maybe if you're going through a tough time, maybe if you're doing a marathon prep, or maybe if you're just injured, just speaking things out loud and speaking about it might be helpful. And that is the 3 ingredient dinner done. Mayo, tuna, rice. Because we're gonna talk taper week, nutrition. Because I think there's a bit of a common misconception for some people, especially based on the questions that some people ask me around the taper weeks and what I'm doing in the marathon. People put 2 and 2 together and get 54. You don't need to when you're decreasing the training volume for taper week, i.e. running less, need to reduce the calories, because the basis of the taper is to recover as well as possible, be fit as possible, and be as fresh as possible. And the way that you're going to do that is by giving the body the fuel that it needs, especially with carbs and stuff as well. So the last thing I would want to do is put my body into a deficit of where energy is going to be low. Just a little more mayo. So that is why I'm not going to change anything to do with my food. I'm going to keep it exactly the same, apart from the 2 or 3 day carb up that I'll do, and then the carb up the night before. For me, I want to change as little as possible about this taper week, especially with having the injuries and stuff. I just don't want more stuff stressing me out. So I'm going to keep as much of the foundation of what I've been doing the same, obviously apart from the running. So this is our marathon sheet, and this was supposed to be the taper. I'm actually gonna zoom this and you can see it better. So like you can see here, this was supposed to be a start of the week with a 4.8k easy run, which I think is about 3 miles. And then it was supposed to move into a 6.4k easy run, and then the day before the race day, 2 miles. And this was like winding down over the previous weeks anyway in tapering, but this was just the final week of taper. Now, if we take a look at the other sheet that I created, which is what I'm actually having to do because of the injury, instead, we've got a 20-minute bike, which I've done today being Tuesday. Thursday, I've got a 30-minute bike. And then Saturday, I'm still planning on doing the 2 mile run, but I'm going to play it by ear just to make sure that everything is okay with the injury. Now, tapering is actually one of the most important parts of the marathon training plan, and obviously one that I'm not really able to complete properly, but in many cases it's also one of the hardest to implement because many people tend to fear cutting back on training since they often believe it's too much rest and will undo a lot of the training right before the big race. And all the hard work at this point is pretty much done, and it's not about putting your body and your joints and hormones through anymore. It's about leaving in the best place possible before the big day, and this is where our fitness should peak and recover. Now essentially, all the hard work is done, and none of the work this week is really anything to do with physical fitness, but more about the mental, just to keep you ticking over. So for me, it's not a big deal that I can't do too much training, but I'll still keep the engine ticking over. And then the 2 mile run that's supposed to be on the Saturday before is more so just about expending energy and expending that pent up energy inside to relieve some stress, essentially. So that's why this taper week for me is probably going to look a lot different to yours or anybody else's, because mine is essentially trying to get this soleus, this calf, in the best place possible for the race day. My aerobic base is there now. It's good as it's going to get. It's not going to get any better. The only thing I can get better is the calf by rehabbing it, ibuprofen, massaging it, and just making sure it's in a good place. And we've got a couple of other tricks up our sleeve as well. So the final thing we've got to do this taper week is carb up. We're going to do 3 days. Yesterday was the first. I'm just going to continue on with using the same food groups that I've been using throughout the marathon prep, really, with a couple of additionals that I know sit well on my stomach. But I wouldn't really add anything in terms of carb up, which is unusual for you to eat just because it might throw your stomach off a couple of days before the run. So I've just gone with crumpets, soda tea cakes, Uncle Ben's rice that I usually go with, banana, raisins, muesli, oats. We get a couple of loads of pasta in and bagels. It's not, this carb up isn't used for like a cheat day. It's not like a bodybuilding competition where you just throw anything down your neck like donuts. And the other thing is, if you're coming from a background where you've really just been focused on composition and aesthetics, then don't worry about your weight. Don't be weighing yourself, because when you're carbing up, there's going to be more glycogen and muscle. You're naturally going to weigh more. But that's not the point. The point now is that we're priming our body, we're giving it enough fuel to be able to do the run and do the race properly. I think I might have mentioned the numbers previously in the video, but if I haven't, or I've changed them a little bit today. The calories at 3,000, carbs at 487, which is 65% total of my calories for the day. Proteins at 150 grams, which is 20% of the calories today, and then fats at 50 grams. Just getting loads of those carbs in. But it's the first time I've really used MyFitnessPal through the marathon prep, because I just need to know numbers and make sure that I've got enough carbs in the system. But first, I'll make some oats. So because this week hasn't exactly gone to plan, it's been a week of foam rolling, mobility, dosing up on painkillers, trying to keep the inflammatory down and try and keep that swelling down on the soleus as much as possible. So today was actually the first day, it's Friday, 2 days before the marathon. Today was the first day I've actually done any kind of running whatsoever. I just did 1K on the treadmill, super slow, at the gym. I did my last weight training session as well, so that actually felt pleasantly okay, but it's only 1K on a treadmill, which is a lot different to doing 42 on a hard surface. But there's a lot of other little things I've been using this week. I'll just show you instead. So in the magic gift box there is, these are calf straps I'm going to use on the day to hopefully just keep that calf warm and keep the blood supply going throughout the run. I've been flying through these. I'm doing a 5-day course of ibuprofen to try and keep the inflammation and swelling down. We've got some salt tablets. This I've been smashing on twice a day. It is it's Pure Sport CBD, so I've been doing that in the rubs. Some electrolytes that a friend had given me. These are some more straps, just dosing up on ibuprofen again. I got some blister straps because I'm carrying a bit of a blister. Ibuprofen gel for the day. And then I've got some of these energy gels I'm going to be taking with me for the day of the race. These are from My Protein. Again, if you want to grab some, I'll leave these linked in the description below. That is the carb I've commenced. Now all there is to do is to pack, get the rest of my things ready. Make sure that the route is planned out, and then just relax. I'll see you on the day. Finna jump for this